Well, welcome back, YouTubers. Well, this little project we got going here is a mechanical starter solenoid on this old, my old 806 International Farmall here. It's been acting up here the last little bit and clicking off and on, and then hard to get it to cycle to start. And these solenoids here, you can actually take them apart. They have bolt holes on these little bolt holes in the solenoid cap here. You can take them apart, and usually the problems that start with these is the little actuator plunger inside the solenoid. The solenoid is just one big magnet actually, and this little dipper plunger here, they got a copper contact surface all around, and they get a little bit pitted, and if these get buggered up, then you're pretty much done. I think you can get the kits for these, but they're really not worth the cost of at that point you can replace the solenoid. But the biggest issue usually is in the cap here, these the terminal studs here, these copper terminal studs. I don't know if you guys can see, I'll bring you in right close here. It's a two-sided terminal stud, and they get this is all burnt in and corroded, and it doesn't make full contact with your little plunger here on the mating surface contact. So what you have to do here is you can get these replacements actually at most automotive electrical shops where they rebuild starters and alternators. They have these literally on the shelf in boxes. You can buy them. They're, I don't know, a few bucks a piece, or $2-3 a piece for these. It's cheaper than like some of these solenoids here, like this one, and the best deal I can get on is like 60 bucks. They can go well over 100 in my market here anyways. So you can clean them up and rebuild them. My dad used to do this years ago. I watched him do it many times, and I know how to do it now too. So, but here's a little fun fact. You can actually take these, back them out of the cap. Be careful you don't break this cap, because then you're screwed. But you can slide this stud out and turn it a half a turn so that there's a fresh contact face that'll make contact with your little plunger dipper here, and then you're pretty much starting from square one. You're good as new again. So the second terminal, your ground stud here, that usually they get just a little bit of discoloration on them, and they're usually okay. If these burn out, there's not much you can do, because these are, you're going to be careful when you take this apart, because one is your exciter for from your starter switch, the small terminal, and the other one here is your ground terminal that goes back to the starter body here, or your field, I should say. Sorry. These solenoids, they're a piston plunger, and as you can see here on the starter itself here, that's your engager piston, basically, that pushes on an eccentric cam that engages your starter drive into your ring gear on the back of your engine. So pretty simple. These were a pretty simple setup. This is an old Delco Remy starter, so very rudimentary, very basic. Work very well for what they are. Anyways, it's I don't know, just thought I'd jump in here and share this with you. If any of you are ever really stuck, you can take them apart and clean them. Just be careful, work your way through. You can see here I got all my nuts and star washers and backing washers and everything all laid out in order of how it came apart, and they'll go back together the same way. I'm going to slide this out to clean it up and put it back in. Like I say, turn it half a turn so you have a fresh mating surface to go along with this little actuator plunger here, your magnet plunger, so to speak. And we'll put it back together, and I'm sure it'll work just fine. I will get a new, brand new spare one, because I have some other similar starters here on other tractors that use the same Delco system, so it really doesn't matter. I don't have a spare around, so I'm going to pick up a spare. Nice and cool out tonight here. It's late, middle of the night here. I'm working because I couldn't sleep. I don't know, it's like 2, 3 in the morning or whatever. We've had a real hot, dry spell here again, and daytimes are just miserable. You cook around this equipment, the castings, just the metal, everything gets so hot or whatever, it's hard to work, so I figured I couldn't sleep, so I might as well come out here and do something productive. Like I say, just come out here and play with this and take my mind off things type of thing. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up, and I'll bring you guys back here in a minute when I get at this here. Start putting this back together. Okay, folks, you can see here now I got the cap back on. Got all the studs lined up back through the cap. Got the initial 2 bolts, hold down bolts, and the plunger back in there. It's also a good idea when you put them back together to just put a little bit of white lithium grease, light grease on there, so that everything moves nice and freely, and don't get it in the contacts, but just in that center plunger there. So anyways, there's a little there's supposed to be like a rubber backed most of these things are all copper contact here. This copper stud, and there's a real paper thin washer goes on here. There's supposed to be like a rubber backer on there, but unfortunately that rubber all comes apart on there. Then there's a very thin jam nut that goes on here, and then you screw that down to the bottom. It pulls it tight, and then you tighten that up, and then you have your regular terminal nut here with a star washer or a small lock washer that goes holds your battery cable onto this stud, and then this one here uses this copper transfer strap here that goes from this stud here to the starter body stud here, or whatever, or your field contact point there, stud. So anyways, I'll continue on here, and I'll get it together a little bit more, and then I'll bring you guys back here again when I progress a little further here. Okay, folks, you can see we got the solenoid here mounted back up on the starter here, so everything is buttoned back up, and like I say, the contacts are cleaned, and the stud has been rotated there. So I gotta put the field tie strap back on here. I don't know if I can set you guys up here. This would be a good spot here, but unfortunately my light here is gonna go away here. Okay, hang on. Take this nut, I put this nut back on because you don't want to lose stuff here when you start farting around here with there's a lock washer, and there's a backing nut, and there's an insulator behind there for the starter body so it doesn't short out. But anyways, this is this copper tie strap that goes from here onto there like so, and then put that back on. And somebody is chewed up these threads a little bit before here. Ah, come on. Okay. And then we've got another lock washer that goes onto the solenoid body stud, the opposite stud, and then another nut there. That's why I like these old, some of these older tractors like these here. They're not very comfortable to operate for the most part. I mean, they're not bad considering for when they were designed. This one is a 9/16. Well, at least this one is, anyways, on the starter body. Technically, they're supposed to be these half thickness nuts. Somebody put a regular nut on here, so it's a 9/16. Should be actually technically a 5/8 on the solenoid body here. That's 5/8 along with the battery cable terminal. That's 5/8 as well. So don't get too carried away and over tighten it, because you're gonna definitely will break that stud, because don't forget that's just in a like a Bakelite. These caps here, that's that weather resistant plastic, or like I say, that Barkalite or Bakelite, whatever they call it. So anyways, just make sure it's snugged up and it's you got good contact. That's the main thing. And then your over here is your exciter wire here from your activation from your ignition push button switch there. Whatever, on these tractors they have the on-off ignition switch, and then you got just usually a push button or whatever to get them going. But anyways, there's a tiny little lock washer that goes on here, and then your nut that goes over that again. And then that's usually on most of those. Some of them are, this one is 3/8, but a lot of them are 5/16, the small little terminals. And just be careful, don't get too carried away here, because that's just a little like a number 10 machine screw bolt or whatever. So that's all it takes, just a little bit like that there, and you're good there. And you have a couple accessory for your that go on the back, and then your battery cable here go over, and then another lock washer. In this case, it's just a star washer, but gets the job done. Okay, I'm gonna pause you guys here, because this is a two-handed thing. I'm farting around, and I'm gonna drop something here. So hang on, be right back. Okay, folks. Well, I got a car battery just temporarily set over here on the booster cables here. Well, not on the booster cables, hooked up to the battery cables. I got everything back in place, got everything, got the solenoid all bolted back up as I showed you there, and got the battery cables back on, and got like I say, a temporary car battery there sitting there hooked up here just to bump the solenoid. I'm not going to start the tractor. I just want to see if the solenoid's working here. I got the ignition switches on, ignition switch on, and just gonna make sure that the starter here is going to work. This one still has a safety cutout on the clutch, which is not a bad thing. It's okay. So anyways, let's see here if we got there we go. Yep. And just like that, we go from a non-functioning solenoid to back in business, working again, just because those contacts were corroded and burnt down or whatever. So sand them down a little bit, clean them up, and you'll have yourself a working solenoid starter again. So that's good to know that this is one more little thing fixed on here that's ready to go. So anyways, thank you to everybody that comes back and checks out these videos. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the next one. As always, take care.